Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Patirajakarya Stotra Shata Srimad Divine Grace. Abhay Charanarvinde Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Patirajakarya Stotra Shata Srimad Divine Grace. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. I Gaur Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamadirahe Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavate Uttamaśloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 73, Text 14. अथो न राज्यं मृगतिष्ठानिरूपितम् देहेन शाश्वतपतितरुजम्बुवा उपस्यत्यं परफलेन विभो क्रियाफलं पत्रेय च करणरोचनम् अथो न राज्यं मृगतिस्थानिरूपितम् देहेन शाश्वतपतितारुजनम्बुवा उपतिष्ठवयं परफलेन विभो क्रियाफलं पत्रे च कर्णरोचनम् अथो न राज्यं मृगतिस्थानिरूपितम् देहेन शाश्वतपतितामृजम्भुवा उपदिष्वत्यं परफलेन विभो क्रियाफलं पात्रे च रोचनम् क्रियाफलं पात्रे च करणरोचनम्. Please chant. Dehena shashvat upatishtatvam sprahapayena vibo kriyaphalam patre cha karnarochanam. अतो न राज्यं मृगतिष्ठनिरूपितम् देहेन शाश्वतनिरूपितम् उपादृष्टपरं भवेन विभो क्रियाफलं पात्रे च कर्णरोचरम् अथो न राज्यमृगतिष्ठानिरूपितम् तेन परम् उपतिष्ठादितं स्पृहन्निर्भो क्रिये फलं पाते च कर्णरोचनम् अथो न राज्यं प्रतिष्ठितम् इदहेन शास्त्रस्य प्रतिष्ठितम् क्रियाफलेन चेतनम्. Thank you very much. Atahom, henceforward, na, not, Rajyam, kingdom, Mrigatishtani, like a mirage, Rupitam, which appears, Dehena, by the material body, Shashvat, perpetually, Patitaham, subject to demons, Rujam, of disease, Bhuva, the birthplace, Upashasvityam, Svitam, to be served, Sprihaparima, do we hanker for, Vibho, O mighty Lord, O Almighty Lord, Kriyayam, of pious work, Phalam, the fruit, Atreya, having passed to the next life, Cham, and Karna, for the ears, Rochanam, antecedent. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: never again we will hanker for a mirage-like kingdom, a kingdom that must be slavishly served by this mortal body, which is simply a source of disease and suffering, and which is declining at every moment, nor a Almighty Lord. We will hanker to enjoy the heavenly fruits of the pious work in the next life, since the promise of such rewards is simply an empty enticement for the ears. Purport: one must work very hard to maintain the kingdom or a political sovereignty, and yet the body which works so hard to maintain one's political power is itself doomed. At every moment, the mortal body moves towards death, and all along the way, the body is subjected to the many painful diseases. The whole the whole affair of the mundane power is thus a waste of a time for a pure soul who needs to revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. The Vedic scriptures and other religious scriptures contain many promises of propensity and heavenly enjoyment in the next life for one who acts piously in this life. Such promises are pleasing to the ears, but they are nothing more than that. Material enjoyment, whether in heaven or in hell, is the type of illusion for the pure soul. By the personal associate of Lord Krishna, The fortunate kings have now realized the higher spiritual reality beyond the panstagnomium of material creation. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjanam Salakaya Chakshurulmitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Supatantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyasya Deshatarini Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So this verse is very lesson giving verse, teaching us what is real enjoyment and what we should hanker for. And it is this straightforward. This context is where king were 20,800 kings were imprisoned by Jarasandha, and later on Krishna came with Arjuna and Bhima and they defeated Jarasandha. Then the kings were released from the prison. After that, they offered prayers to Lord Krishna. This is one of the prayers that we realized now that we don't hanker mirage like kingdom and we don't want lavishly or opulent life and we don't need this body. This verse, it sounds like in the Jagannath Astakam, there is a verse, Naveyache rajyam na kanaka manikyam vibhavam nayachayam ramyam sakala jagam kamyam varado. So in that, uh, it is also said same thing, most of the point. I do not pray for the kingdom, nor for the gold, rubies, wealth, and I do not ask for an excellent, beautiful wife, desired by all men. So, this is the way of learning the lesson in a harder way. Now, there are two types of learning lesson. One is easier way, as Krishna says, don't get attached to the material opulence, don't get attached to the worldly position, don't get attached to the material designation. Just be detached from everything and surrender unto me. As Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So that is one way of learning. By hearing, a person will give up everything and they will surrender unto the Lord. And second class of people, they don't learn by seeing or by hearing. They just learn by harder way. As the kings we see here, they learned the lesson in a harder way. Because when they used to have the kingdom and opulence, good life, and a nice wife, beautiful wife, in that they were not uh, unity. They don't have unity among the kings, and they were not following the religious principle, or nor they are following the dharma. and they are ruling the kingdom as if they like, however they want. That's where Jarasandha the demon came and attacked. So here is a lesson, like if you don't lead life according to the dharma, if you don't lead life according to the Vedic scriptures or Guru Sadhu Shastra, the demon like material energy comes and it snatch away everything. So before it comes and snatch away everything, we should understand like three kinds of people as I mentioned. One who sees by, one who sees, oh, this is a good thing, what is good and what is bad, he will learn just by seeing. And second class of people, one who sees and one who hears, then he will learn after hearing. Just like it is mentioned in the Nectar of Instruction first verse, like Parikshit Maharaj asked in that context, like Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam, I guess. So in that, Parikshit Maharaj asked, why do people, do the sinful activities after going atonement? When the people go atonement, proper atonement, why do people still do? In that context, um, there is a nice example is given when elephant takes bath in the nice Ganges. After coming out of from the Ganges, the river, immediately puts on mud. That is one example. Another example, it is there, like if person hears like robbery is a bad thing, and if you if you steal somebody's property, you go to jail. People who hears first, then he will give up. And second class of people who hears and who sees, then he will realize, oh, I should not do it. And third kind of people who hears, who undergo punishment, and who sees, still he will not change. Correct. So here, the kings are like most fortunate, I would say, because after learning the lesson, they realize this is one of the most realization prayers. Just by reading translation, they don't. We will understand. They don't ask for kingdom. We don't want this body. We don't want this attachment for the material things, and we don't hanker for the heavenly kingdom, like sorry, heavenly planets. So these are all good for people who wants to enjoy the material life. But material life is not permanent thing. So one must maintain very work hard to maintain body, and what to speak of social status, political status. So even though you work very hard, and it is doomed one time. So every moment our body deteriorates. So one should understand this basic principle and lead the life. So one may question, so what about happiness? So this happiness and distress, one should be equipoised, and we should not be disturbed. So one may ask question. So when happiness comes, we will be become we either we should not celebrate. Is that what you are saying? No, we can celebrate, but there is a limit. We cannot be overly joy and overly act on it and go keep on celebrate. But one cannot restrict happiness and distress according to his own will. But one should be detached from the materialistic way of life in the both cases. So how do we get there? So it is easy to be said, okay, one should be detached from happiness and distress. Generally, we see that people, they are desirable. When we get the desirable things, we will be happy. And when we get something undesirable, we will be distressed. But if you are actually in spiritual position, these things will not agitate us. So, what is spiritual position? How to be in spiritual position? So, to reach that stage, we have to practice unbreakable devotional service, which are there. Like, what is a devotional service? Nine process of devotional service: simply hearing, chanting, worshipping, and Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So, by following these nine process, one can reach that stage. So, if you reach that stage, then you will be equipoised. Then you will not get disturbed by these things. So one may say that okay, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, like abandon all varieties of activities. Just as I said, surrender unto me. But activities which are connected towards Krishna, we should not abandon. Activities which are making us to progress towards Krishna consciousness, we should not abandon. So surrendering oneself is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And coming back to this verse, Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavatam, so many places, there is a verse like Yasya graham anugrahami harsham harshiyasya tad dhamasana. So the personality of Godhead said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive of his wealth and then relatives and friends of such a poverty stricken man, then abandon him. In this way, he will suffer one distress after another. So, Krishna is giving this verse. So, if I favored one, and Srila Prabhupada also tells, like, I was trying to do many things. Like, I started this business, then it was not successful. I started that business, it is not successful. So in that various way he was trying to maintain, but everything is going in opposite direction. So like we see in the scriptures, there are many people who, great people who abandon the kingdom, worldly opulences, and that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Sishtastakam we every day praise. Natanam na janam na sundarim kavitam vajagadishakami. So Lord himself is praying. He himself is saying that these are all not permanent and they don't give you happiness. When person who has created this, he himself is saying that this is not a good place to live. Then we are trying here to make this good place with all our intelligence, all our strength, all our knowledge. But that is not possible. So the which in the Sishtastakam, that's why it prays and um, Ashlishya Padaratam Pinastama. So you put me anywhere, but make me remember all the time your lotus feet. So there's kings also, they're praying the same thing. So we will not hanker for the fruits of our piety work. We don't demand for the bodily needs, and we just need your instruction, your association, your devotees association. So this whole affair of mundane power is waste of time. So one should understand this. Then we can see in the scriptures there are various examples like uh, King's Parikshit Maharaj. He has given up his kingdom and king worldly opulence and all his facility, all his comfort zone. He came and he heard Bhagavatam. Correct. So everybody and other people who had renounced his family life, and in Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they were also ministers. They also gave up, and this is the way material opulence becomes stuck. Stumbling blocks for spiritual life. That's why Kunti Maharani prays all the time. I don't want this opulence. Let the distress comes all the time. Because in the distress, I get your association. Kunti Maharani automatically prays. And we see that On one side, people, devotees of the Lord, they give up everything, they surrender, and they realize there is no happiness in this material world, material opulence, especially ruling kingdom and etc., having good wife. But is it the only way to become a qualified, to become a devotee of the Lord? Is it way only give up the worldly possession, opulence, or worldly prestige, worldly designation, material designation, and give up everything and surrender into life? Then only Lord will shower the mercy? No. On the other side, like we see the various example. So one side we say that if one is placed in the material opulence due to the mercy of the Supreme Lord, and he should not consider this is a cause of bondage. When a mature devotee is blessed with material opulence, he does not become affected by obviously. And for he knows how to employ the material opulence in the service of the Lord. There are many such examples in the history of the world. There are kings like Prithu Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Vaivasvata Manu, and Maharaj Ishwaku. See, all these great kings were especially favored by Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Pundarika Vidyanidhi, he was always surrounded by the opulence. He was wearing all kinds of gold, silk clothes, very opulent. And externally, nobody understand. He's a pure devotee of the Lord. When Mukunda and he want to see the Pundarik Vidyanidhi at that time, there was one sloka recite, Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam. When as soon as he heard these words, immediately he went into ecstasy of madness. And he immediately came out from, he immediately jumped from his seat and he's storing his clothes and as if, he is gone mad. So, all these kings were especially favored by Supreme Personality of Godhead. If a devotee is not matured, the Supreme Lord will take away all these opponents. As the Supreme Personality of God states in this verse, Yasyaham Anugraham Harshati. So he says that my first mercy is shown to the mercy, shown to my devotee is to take away all the material opulence. Material opulence is determined to the devotional service, taken away. So Srila Prabhupada also, when he came, when his material things, business, everything is doomed, and he renounced family life, he took Vanaprastha and he came to the US. Just 40 rupees. 40 rupees is not even a penny. So now he has a billions of dollars. So the maturity is required, and in that way we should understand this is a mercy of the Lord. And so material activities for the purpose of sense gratification, material activities in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is says that specifically considering material activities for the purpose of sense gratification and material activities for the purpose of satisfying Supreme Lord, the conclusion is that there is no one in the same. The material activities for sense gratification are cause of material bondage, whereas very same activities for the satisfaction of Krishna are cause of liberation. So, how the same activity can be cause of bondage and liberation? Just like electricity. An expert electrician, Srila Prabhupada gives this often example. An expert electrician can convert electricity into heat or cold. Like same electricity, he can use it for heating up the room, and the same electricity he can use for cooling up the room, like in the form of ACs. So these material opulence, it can be used for the cause of bondage when we use for sense gratification. When we used for the Krishna's service, it is cause of liberation. So how the same activity can be cause of bondage and liberation, and explains. See, another example is given here. One may get indigestion due to eating too many milk preparations, condensed milk, sweet, rice, and so on. But even though there is indigestion or diarrhea, another milk preparation, yogurt mixed with a black pepper and salt, will immediately cure these maladies. In other words, one milk preparation is cause for indigestion and diarrhea, another milk preparation can cure them. See, there are many examples that we can say that in that situation. So, here coming back to this verse, um, we see that therefore these kings, they do not desire for the kingdom made of beautiful men under the spell of illusion. And the kingdoms are served by the bodies. What these bodies are? These bodies are shelter for the sickness, and they are temporary. So one should take the shelter of Supreme Lord. Taking the shelter of Supreme Lord means taking His instructions. So, so moreover, so it is the point here is that we should not take shelter of material opulence. We should take shelter of Krishna's instructions. And the worldly people desire for Swargaloka, heavenly planets. So they are only for temporary again. So these are good to hear. They are pleasurable for hearing. But having gone there, they don't find real happiness, and they continue to repeat of birth and death. So since their realization is very profound and very strong, and they are saying we enjoy this body affected by sickness, and instead of that, you are the master of us, and we should always serve you, and we should always hear your glorification, and we should always abide by laws of scriptures. In that only we have benefit. Other than that, there is no benefit. But unfortunately, people take shelter of these temporary material opulence, the temporary material relationships, and they try to find, or they struggle to get happiness from these things. If a person is very rich, like we see people who are very rich and very opulent, and they try to take the shelter of their opulent, and even though they try to take shelter of their opulent, that cannot stop from getting old, that cannot stop from getting disease, that cannot stop from getting death. Every moment is we are reaching death nearby. So they are all temporary things. So there are many things that have been discussed, that can be discussed in this verse. So the whole affair of mundane power is the waste of time for the pure soul. The pure devotee will not take and will not take shelter of these things, and he will not waste of this time. He will see how to revive my Krishna consciousness, which is in dormant, and how to get closer to Krishna, and how to preach this message to everybody, all humanity. He is only interested in spreading the message, and is only interested in serving the Lord. And he will take only shelter of the nine process of devotional service. Other than that, he is not interested in anything. So I think I'll stop here. I know many more points can be discussed. If you have any questions or comments,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you
Hare
for the
Krishna.
class. Prabhu, I was thinking, you were saying the maturity that Srila Prabhupada had, after he became rich, he had so much money. Now for us, like if,
Mm.
just say for instance, some relative left me $1 million tomorrow, I always say that I don't want that $1 million because I don't know, if I can become that mature to deal with it, you know what I'm saying? So this maturity you're talking about, if it did happen, you know, how does that come about, to be
Yeah.
able to deal with it?
See, one thing is clear here in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, text 13. There's a big purport in that. It is mentioned like happiness and distress are factors of. It's a commonly factors of material life. If you think the happiness comes from the money and then opulent, that is not correct. So here I'll just read out this. Happiness and distress are concomitantly factors of material life. One should learn to tolerate, as advised in Bhagavad Gita, one never restrict the coming and going of happiness and distress. One should be detached from materialistic way of life and be automatically equipoised in both cases. Okay. When you become equipoised in both cases, then you can become mature devotee. Then question comes how to become equipoised in both cases. Like when you're happiness, you don't have to, you like we are not saying that you should not celebrate. When you are in distress, we are not saying that you should not be sorrow. But in the both cases, you should be equipoised. How to become equipoised? The only solution is to reach that stage. We have to practice unbreakable devotional service to the Lord. What is that unbreakable devotional service to the Lord? Without deviation, engaging oneself in Krishna consciousness. What is that service? The nine process of service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So when you do this unbreakably or without deviation, then you will reach to the stage of equipoised. Then you will become a mature devotee. On the other hand, there are many devotees, they are surrounded with opulence. As I read in the foot, like their mercy, especially special mercy by the Supreme Lord, and they should not consider this is a material bondage. And for example, there are Prutu Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, and Dhruva Vaivaswata Manu, Ishwakumanu. And these are all the people, Parikshit Maharaj, and also Parikshit Maharaj, and also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Pundarika Vidyanidhi. They are all especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are surrounded with opulence. The condition here is that if one is placed in material opulence due to the special mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he should not consider the material, this is the cause of material bondage. When a mature devotee is blessed with the material opulence, he does not become affected adversely, for he knows how to employ the material opulence in the service of the Lord. That is the key here. Just like an electrician, he knows the electricity that can be converted into warming up your room by using space heater, that can be converted into AC using cooler. So if one should reach to that stage. How a person will reach to that stage? When he practice this Shravanam Kirtanam Smaranam Vishnu Smaranam by, you know, again this 9 process of devotional service, practice unbreakable devotional service without deviation. So if you practice this without deviation, without breakable, without any distraction, this 9 process of service, then you'll become matured. Then you will get millions of dollars. Then you know how to use everything in Krishna's. Like as Srila Prabhupada, he just came with a 40 rupees, which is nothing, which is not even a penny in those times. He doesn't have any money. His business is lost, doomed, and everything he was trying. But that doesn't mean that he's not a mature devotee. We should not say that. But for an example, I'm saying. But when he gave up everything, when he took the mission of his Guru Maharaj, now he is not worried about $40 or 40 millions. There are more millions of dollars, millions, trillions of dollars he has. So if you are becoming expert, just like we use this microphone for just glorifying the Lord. We don't sing mundane songs. We don't sing any other things. Use it everything in Krishna consciousness in a matured way. That's the point here. Thank you. Is it okay?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. If you don't have anything, we can. You have anything? Okay, we will stop here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande.